Welcome back to Forge of Champions. I'm just going to quickly do something.
Okay, I was about to say, doesn't this the sound, like opening sound, remind you of like going up on a roller coaster?
Yes.
Like
If you heard the wind noises coming by as my audio engineer looks me in the eyes and saying, "What the hell are you doing?" I had to go turn off the AC. It was getting a bit steamy in here, and that is because it's hotting up on this promotion relegation tournament. And I'm not just talking about the romance that's budding here between Orcs and Chronicler. I'm talking about this game right now. Darkspawn potentially going to be losing out to Brotherhood, and what that would mean is we are guaranteed one of our previous UK LC teams taking the exit and leaving the competition.
And that is insane, because at Forge of Champions we saw that while the Open Tournament teams were able to kind of hold a candle to the UKLC teams, in the end they always prevailed. And now we've already seen that for Envision, that wasn't the case. They take a fairly decisive 2-0. And I gotta say, if I look at the game here as well, with a top half as greedy as we saw it from Brotherhood, still being able to find the team fights early on, take control of the game, and then never let go, is really scary to me.
Yeah, I feel like you can't just go for Darkspawn, at least the play around top side and sacrifice your bot lane. It didn't work. I think you need to give your bot lane something that can actually do a bit more, because if you give over the Caitlyn lane and just get shoved in and destroyed, you're going to lose, and it's going to be a 2-0.
And I think maybe Caitlyn is being considered as a ban. I think even Vixen playing Ahri, you saw the fact that he's got thousands and thousands of game into that champion. You know that he plays it that well. Exactly, perfect KDA. The Karthus was an issue. Everything felt like an issue. The only thing that didn't feel like an issue was Lena's Riven, but that's because it's such a stale matchup for the Riven. If you don't die, it's not a matchup that you can hard win. So we just didn't really focus on it that much. But realistically, he did his job. He split push, he created pressure, and he didn't die.
Even then, in the end, he was up 40 CS, I think, 40, 50 CS. He was able to just, in late game team fights still, he distracts two people by himself, just drawing that much attention, and then also somehow getting out.
Yeah,
mental.
My question is going to be the Shen. What did he do in lane? Nothing. What did he do with his ult? Still nothing. Apart from saving PFI that one time, which isn't really like, oh, yes, it did something, you know.
I agree, I think the Shen was a poor pick.
The Shen didn't really do anything. I think the Kai'Sa into Caitlyn put it into a difficult matchup. I think taking the Aurelia and the Renekton meant that you sort of forced yourself to try and win top lane. And when that didn't happen for Lina, you just kind of meandered about and fell behind in the game.
Because this was something we didn't really talk about, but it was a full AD composition coming out, meaning that, as we saw, everyone just built ninja Tarbis, and then if you fall behind, which they did, it's not really a combat mechanic available for you anymore.
Well, I think we need to look towards this second draft now. We've kind of talked about exactly what went down in that previous game. What do we see? What do we want to see changed up here, especially for Darkspawn? Because honestly, I think if you're E9, you probably don't need to change anything.
Pick a better bot lane. Pick a bit more scaling. If you're gonna go for the Aurelia, then just put it top lane. Just say, right, we like trust Akers on that pick, or don't pick it. You know, if you're gonna go for that one. And then
but what's Beely gonna pick mid? Syndra?
Yeah, I mean, Syndra's does okay in Ahri, just something that has a better 1v1 matchup, because he didn't really get that much from the Aurelia. He did fine 1v1, but something that can offer a bit more scaling, because by putting the Renekton in top lane, it just meant like you had to win early, because Renekton and Aurelia aren't going to scale hugely well when compared to a team with things like the Karthus, the Ahri, the Caitlyn, and then just put some more love to your bot lane. Just put so much more love to your bot lane.
It really hurt you, right? Like, as a former bot lane, you were just looking and you were like, this is not going to be a fun matchup. And then it really wasn't a fun matchup for them either way, as we go into pick and ban for the second game between E9 Brotherhood and Darkspawn Gaming. And we see once again the Morgana, the Jace getting taken away. So thus far, no switch up.
Wonder if you just ban the Karthus as your final ban here on Darkspawn, unless you're looking to first pick it for PFI. The Rise ban, I like. I actually love the respect bans, because I think Flirt's really only looked really good on the Xayah so far. So
my question's got to be, why did you ban the Morgana
and then bang on the Caitlyn?
You could have just banned the Caitlyn in the first place, and then Morgana doesn't really synergize with the champions as well. And if they pick Morgana, then like a shorter range AD carry, I feel like you can have a pretty good matchup into that. Nautilus banned away actually by Brotherhood this time, so Shazen will not get his hands on that.
And whether they first pick Aurelia here to stop Lina getting hold of that?
There's Aurelia, there's Carly, there's Silas, there's Karth. There's so many power picks still open. And that's the issue, is that Darkspawn can only take one on this rotation. Brotherhood have their choice of 2 on the next rotation. So a lot of pressure on Darkspawn what they want to pick up here.
And the Karthus, you said already, Excandal, not banned away. And let's not forget how insanely bad Seeky's start was there. Right, like he got invaded, he had to blow his flash early, and still he was able to make the plays on the Karthus.
I think you can just go Irelia Karthus.
Yeah.
In theory, I feel like it gives away a lot of your cards already. I'd prefer to see the Aurelia then something that's potentially a bit more flexible, but they are going straight for that Vayne.
Bam!
Do you remember Den Voxney's Vayne?
I do remember Den Voxney's Vayne. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
But it's not as lane dominant as something like the Caitlyn.
Yeah, so I think Darkspawn already in a better position. The question's going to be, what do they have to answer the Aurelia? Are they going to put the Akali in the top lane, or do they have something else? I think for now, just keep it as a flex, and then I think get a good, powerful bot lane right now. Pick it up, pick something that's going to pressure in the Vayne. I don't mind them taking the Rek'Sai here so you have some early pressure, but you have to pick something that's going to have a good matchup and can punish that Vayne.
Yeah, I think you just need to pick your power AD carry right. I'd love to see Lucian. That would be a good one. You know, it's not so, I mean, it's not amazing into Vayne, but I'm trying to think what actually is like super strong into Vayne right now. Varus, I think, would be okay.
Varus
pick
would be
your
okay.
own Caitlyn?
Caitlyn's banned.
Never mind.
Something with a bit more range would be sort of an ideal situation. I feel like Kai'Sa in this match isn't actually as bad. You know, we were complaining about it in the game before against the Caitlyn, so I do like the Rakan, just for the options it offers in terms of engage.
I like Varus, I like Kai'Sa, I like Tristana. I think all of those are pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just comes down to what they want to pick up. They do have that support. I like the Rakan a lot more than the Shen.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a lot more useful and proves something that's difficult to play against because of the amount of CC he offers. It's just something that was banned away last game, which was the Nunu for Psyche, so he won't be on that card, or will he?
It will be on the Karthus.
He will be on the Karthus, so hovering between those, but it will be the same jungle matchup as last game.
I gotta say though, I kind of like this from E9 because last time they saw, so you pick early game and then you don't get ahead and we win. And now they effectively make the same call here. But this is of course pre-double nerf Vayne. There's no nerf to Rage Blade yet. There's no nerf to a Tumble yet. So she will actually be really strong as soon as she...
Still the mid-game spiking, late-game carry, yeah.
Yeah, so where she hits Rage Blade, Blade Ruin King, it's like, well, I guess we just have to focus every single team fight now.
I guess we just die.
I guess we just lose, yeah.
Is
they
the
do
situation.
get the Renaxon ban out this time, though, so...
Yeah. It'll
want
be
to make
interesting
sure
to see what Darkspawn take away. They do go for the Zillion, which is something that Shazian would play. I wonder if they'll ban away the Ahri from Vixen, because obviously mid lane most likely hasn't been picked, yeah. And that's the thing is that, yes, Aurelia is a flex pick. Pretty sure it's top lane.
I'm pretty sure it's Lina's Aurelia on the top side of the map, and yeah, you maybe want to remove some of the...
That was a pick that would have been great.
Yes, Draven would have been very good.
Draven. That would have actually been a really solid third pick into the Vayne. It is something he played himself in the regular split, so good read from Brotherhood to take that off the cards. It's something that we actually missed, and yeah, it looks like that Brotherhood were on point. I expect to see the Ahri here, but it comes down to what Darkspawn think is going to win them this game.
Yeah, maybe
the Ahri.
It is the Ahri. I think that's fair because Vixen looks so comfortable on it, and it is probably Vixen's best champion by quite a margin. Now you're kind of putting him back onto things like the Xerath, for instance.
Yeah, so now you're in a situation where I feel like you pick support here because you want to leave that counter pick till last for your mid laner. Thresh comes in, so Shazian, bit of confidence on this champ. If you manage to land CC in the Rakan, it will put a lot of damage into him. But it is a lot more difficult in the Nautilus, because Nautilus, you do have that ultimate that just has reliable lockdown CC.
Yeah. It's more skill shot dependent. It's a little bit less instant as well. The Nautilus hook often feels a bit more instant to connect. It's going to be I like the Varus. We talked about the Varus. I like the Varus. The range, you have the burst potential, you have the engage potential post 6 as well. This is a much better bot lane from Darkspawn.
The teamfight control as well is really strong because when the Aurelia comes forward, that ult is going to be something that's just to contend with the lockup that it forms. And then Beely coming out with a little Blanc, which is something he has had success with in the 4G Champions. He have a very good game.
Yeah.
And now Vixen, he can't just go and pick something like the Xerath. You do not play Xerath into LeBlanc. You just don't.
It's just a rough matchup. Any kind of gap closer. I think that if you're going to go for anything, the Lissandra or the Syndra work pretty well. I think Lissandra is often the most picked mid laner into LeBlanc, but it's going to be the Orianna coming out for Vixen here. I actually just would have preferred the Lissandra. I think Lissandra would have just been better. But the Orianna does give you a really heavy teamfight presence. Yeah,
and obviously if he feels comfortable on that pick, that's fine. But when I look at this team, I look at that mid jungle for Darkspawn is so strong. Rek'Sai LeBlanc, that is a sort of mid jungle who finds you wandering about and just kill you again and again. And that's going to be an issue for Psyche on this Karthus.
And I gotta say, I feel like Darkspawn are even more so, especially like you said, with the team fight control and with the amount of initiation available with both the Varus ultimate and the Rakan there. There's a lot of opportunities for you to, once you get ahead with this, is just lock someone down, blow them up, have a lot of pressure in these dark pockets of vision, because a LeBlanc jumping forward or an Akali jumping on top of you just means certain death. But I gotta say that after the last game, the question for me is, yes, Darkspawn have a good early mid-game draft here, but it is a group of squishy it's a squishy team that if you fall behind like you did last time, I've got to be scared with the amount of team fighting prowess that is available for E9.
Yeah, E9 have got that same kind of composition where if you don't punish the early game, things are just going to go wildly out of control for you. However, you've got two assassin types in the form of LeBlanc and Akali. That means that Vayne is never going to be safe. Irrespective of the point in the game that we're at, it's always going to be a rough situation for Vayne. You've also got a Karthus who'll go down quickly, luckily still available to use things after death. You've got an Orianna who's fairly squishy. I think this is much better laning setups for Darkspawn, and that's what I'm finding more positive about this draft. Just a little bit worried about the fact that Devox needs a god like Vayne, and Lena's a god like Aurelia.
I like the tools, though. They have a lot more in the sense that a LeBlanc and a Akali can do so much more work than the Aurelia and the Renekton, who kind of rely on other champions to set up for them. I also like the Varus and the Rakan and what they'll offer to the team fight, because to be honest, the Shen Kai'Sa, well, it was the whole composition. It was the Shen, the Kai'Sa, the Renekton, the Aurelia all need someone else to set up, and that wasn't there for them. I feel like Darkspawn have much better tools in this game.
And we're going into the second game between Darkspawn Gaming and E9 Brotherhood as they try to usurp the throne of these UKLC teams. See if they can pick up the victory here, find another 2-0 like the other Open Division team. And Vision did. Well, we're going to see the comeback here and a third game come through in Darkspawn between Darkspawn and E9 Brotherhood. And like you said, the early game here is once again going to be crucial, because if they get into the mid game in a comfortable position, we've seen that E9 can actually find those opportunities, close out those games.
I think if you're looking at draft-wise, I'm much more confident in what Darkspawn have got here. We talked about it just previously. A lot of it comes down to PFI again. I definitely think you've got every lane is impactable this time round. There's no lane that you're going to lose and find really tough. So I think that there's lots and lots of impact lanes for PFI. He can gank almost any lane and find some kind of success. So I really like the fact that PFI's got more options this game and a lot of 1v1 kill potential in almost every side of the map.
I think Darkspawn are giving themselves the tools. It just comes down to how well they play it. I think by all means they should be able to come out ahead with this composition, but my concerns are, as you said, the Voxnate on this Vayne is very strong. Lina on this Aurelia is very strong. If Akaz and PFI find some momentum in this top side, great. But if they don't, I feel like they are going to struggle.
Who do you think is going to win? That's the big question of tonight. I feel like you guys are kind of mixed. If you have a strong opinion either way, tweet at us at #ForgeOfChampions at LVP UK. As then Voxney already starting to tumble forward. And once again, we see this time no lane invade though. E9 not going for that cheesy tactic again. Instead, just going for a regular clear. But they are keeping the fact that Psyche starts blue a secret here.
Days in here, just goes in with a very aggressive play, forces the flash out from Flirt. That is aggressive bot laning, and I think at this point you've basically just won lane.
This is just a straight up 2v2 outplay here coming through from Den Voxney and Shazin.
Yeah, very strong level 1 from the Thresh and Vayne. I will say though, both combat summoners used from Den Voxnay and Shazin, so the heal and ignite down. So yes, the HP looks much higher. Yes, they have the shove advantage and the flash is down for Flirt, but if an all-in happens, Flirt and Fastleg still have that heal, still have that ignite to rely on in the next all-in, so...
PFI also hovering on that bottom side of the map, so...
It was an aggressive play, but it may backfire. So they have pressure in the lane for now. Interested to see if Darkspawn can punish their aggression.
It's up to PFI, I think he's going Krugs. Probably going to path towards this bottom side of the map. They have that engaged potential of the Rakan, remember.
And they're pretty much stuck on the turret, but still level 1 for Fastlect. He's forced to flash as well. But there comes the counter engage. The tunnel comes through as Den Voxney preemptively flashes, and they dive back on top of him. Remind you, there is no heal available anymore as Fastlect get chunked down. And there is the first blood for Den Voxney, and we hyped up this man's Vayne. And here we see why a 3v2.
No, I'm not hyping up his Vayne, mate. I'm hyping up Shazin's Thresh. This guy, absolutely monstrous so far. Dan's face looks like he's just been hit in the face with a brick.
Solid play. I think it was
they pick up a kill. They force everything early on.
They might even get the first play.
Yeah, solid play.
This is just a complete bot lane difference. This shouldn't be happening in this 2v2 matchup, and it's just Den Voxnay and Shazin playing the lane better. This isn't how Vayne Thresh into Rakan Varus goes. This isn't what is supposed to happen. This is them playing better, outplaying the other side, and dominating, not even in a 2v2 situation, a 3v2. And now, look at the CS difference between junglers as well.
There's the engagement on top of Vixen. Chain does land, but Psyche is there to help.
There's no flash in PFI. He could be stuck here.
I think he very well might be. Yeah, he's going to die. And once again, we've seen this last time as well in the first series, where a nice counter gank and an overextension from the UKLC jungler gets punished heavily. And I got to say, already, we're 4 minutes in. It's a 2k goal lead for E9.
This is just, unfortunately, the same story of the last game. The difference in bot lane has just resulted in an absolute...
No, I'm going to disagree with you. Last game was, okay, it's Caitlyn, they're going to have the advantage. This game is just them outplaying them, and Lina
goes in and finds the solo kill. Will he get taken out? It doesn't look like PFI, they're going to be able to pick up a clean kill there. But even there's individual outplays.
Game 1 was more, they picked a better bot lane, and they won because they had a better composition. Here, it just feels like E9 are just styling on them.
I mean, I want to be clear with my statement. I'm not suggesting it's the same reasons that they're losing. What I'm suggesting is it's just the bot lane mismatch. The bot lane mismatch, for whatever reason that bot lane mismatch is causing this snowball effect across the rest of the map. It's because PFI feels like he needs to dedicate attention to the bottom side of the map. He then gets punished for it, tries to make up for it by going for one of the plays in the solo lanes, one of the lanes he probably should have been focusing irrespective of whatever was happening on the rest of the map, and then getting counter-ganked by Siki, who comes in at the right time.
He's got double the CS as well.
Yeah. This game feels like it's done already.
Yeah, it feels doomed.
Okay, so guys, we're 5 minutes into what might be the final game of tonight, and 5 minutes in, you're both sitting here saying it's doomed.
Yeah, it's done.
I say it's fast, like gets chunked down once again, and I hate to agree with you, but you gotta commend E9 for the insanely dominating performance that they show here.
They're outplaying in every role right now. The only thing that looks even, or the only thing that really has looked even, maybe even slightly favored Darkspawn, has been the mid lane matchup between Beely and Vixen. But everything else, I just feel like they've been outplayed on an individual level across the map.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that we can criticize the draft last game, but we can't this game. We can't say, oh, if they'd done this better, if they'd done this better in the draft phase. It's just if they played better, and they're just getting outplayed. The pressure constantly coming out from all members of E9. And already things look firmly under control.
It's not done.
It's not done.
It's not absolutely done. And we obviously, we're kind of memeing a little bit just because of how...
But how can you not be flabbergasted by this game, like starting off like this?
Well, you kind of are. I think if you're in Darkspawn, this is the point where it's like, keep a strong mental, guys, because honestly, you're probably tilted. Like, you're probably coming out of this thinking, Christ, this is our UKLC lives on the line. If we lose this, we are guaranteed to lose one UKLC team out of the UKLC. It'll be us or Bulldogs, and we would have to fight Bulldogs. And
Bulldog, of course, also not looking amazing in the first series against Envision. And like you say, Scoundrel, don't forget, if we see Darkspawn lose it, they're not out of the tournament yet. They will be able to fight Bulldog for their lives in the UKLC tomorrow, as we have the second day of promotions and relegations. But these open teams, absolutely incredible thus far. And last time we saw Siki able to pull ahead of PFI even while getting an early game deficit. But this time, there is no early game deficit. He's 30 CS up. He's already close to finishing off his Runic Echoes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's
so much.
It's doomed. But no, I think Darkspawn just need to wait a bit longer. This gold lead is massive for the time. They need to.
But they're playing into Vayne, Carthus,
it doesn't matter.
Orianna.
It doesn't matter how scaling these champions are. They need to wait for the level 6, because the level 6 is pretty powerful.
Yeah.
That's where they might be able to find some space in this game. When they have the level 6 from bot lane, the engage is a lot stronger. Hook doesn't connect.
They're going for a turret dive here. Siki's setting up. He is level 6. They're going to get the engage.
There is a come down. Flay coming through on top of Fast Select, and they don't actually find any follow-up. There will just be a lot of damage coming through. Piercing arrow does not hit Shazin. And Brotherhood decided better than give up. The Mountain Dragon is available for the taking if they decide to go for that, as that will give them even more shred. And with a Vayne and a Carthus as well, you gotta imagine picking that up means that any objective will just evaporate. A PFI, he is in the general vicinity, but instead gonna go for Krugs. There is just no opportunity whatsoever with that bot lane being pushed so far in.
Yeah, and it's just a really difficult situation to be in as a Rek'Sai if all your lanes or being pressured in or struggling, what do you do?
The problem is now, post 6, is that even if PFI goes for a gank, Karthus can counter gank from anywhere on the map because of his ultimate. He could just pop the ultimate and you might be able to get a turnaround, and you always have to be aware of that. Beely now coming down for a 4-man play isn't the best setup in the world for it, but actually with the aggressive positioning of Denvoxney and Shazin, Beely kind of gave that away though.
And Fastlak is level 4 here, so he can go for a big quickness engage like we saw in the previous series.
I feel like the acting was just so bad there. Like, it was so obvious the gank was coming. I feel like the play was just go quickly in with a flash ult from Flirt and then just try and make the follow-up, but they made it so telegraphed, so obvious, and they just committed so much time and resources. And now Beely, who was the saving grace for the team, down 10 CS in the mid lane, and that was the one lane we're like, okay, maybe that's not going too bad.
Yeah, things looking pretty grim as we extend to an almost 3,000 gold lead, so it's not even like Darkspawn have managed to stem the bleeding. Things have just got even worse here for our team from the UKLC. Things just, especially with the spawning of the Rift Herald soon, you know, you can't help but feel with the advantage that Lina is picking up on the top side of the map with the fact that you can rotate your bot lane top, you can rotate Shazin up there. Karthus in a great position. Speaking of which...
There's a 1v1. Lina does get engaged back on by Akers. We'll go for the full sweat, but a nice stun and PFI there means that with the flash knockup, we'll be able to find a kill, and finally, a play goes right for Darkspawn.
That's some relief. That is something good to see. Akers was ahead in the 1v1, but PFI needed to come in to finish that one out. Some advantage found on the map finally.
Yeah, and the kill goes over to PFI though instead of Akers, so gold not going to be centered on our top lane matchup. However, lots of plates going through. Karthus now lurking his way.
Creep.
Oh, it feels bad, man. Siki going in for the 1v1 here.
And Akers actually taking a lot of damage. Will have the perfect doesn't have the perfect execution available, but Siki, even as Karthus, even if you're this fed already, you can't really go in there. This does mean that with him being spotted, PFI is going for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, he's going to go for the Rift Herald. There isn't really the support available for E9 to contest that, and they don't. This is something that I will criticize them for. They have put lackluster vision on the Rift Herald area, which has allowed Darkspawn to get that both games. And that's going to prevent some of the snowballing potential and may even claim back some of this turret plating gold that's gone in the way of E9's favor.
Yeah, and I'd say that maybe if you just head towards top lane, look for another gank on Alina, potentially get another kill for Akers when his ult's up, and then just throw that Herald down. You can get that top tower out the way before the enemy bot lane are going to, because
Siki's reading this though, right? He's up there.
He's up there, but he's looking to recoil, and I mean, as a Karthus, you don't really want to get involved in that 2v2 because you just don't come out well from it. And E9 actually looking to freeze this wave, so feeling confident with the control they have here. They know they win the 2v2. They have the Blade of the King versus just the Cutlass, so they can do what they want with the wave. It will allow them to freeze it and zone flare off a lot of CS.
As we see, Ekes once again goes in. This time is a 1v1, no PFI available. As he finds a second perfect execution, but tanks a lot of turret shots there. And there is the Requiem. Is it going to be enough? It won't be. Dark Harvest gets procs as Lina flashes forward, goes for the execution, and does find the kill on Akers. And that's got to be painful.
It was just overconfidence. He felt like he had to use the second charge of the perfect execution under tower. And as a result, ends up burning his life because he takes a tower hit, takes some more damage from the guard result, and that's enough.
Wow.
He forces a flash.
Doesn't even throw out the hook.
That is just... you guys can't see Orcs, but he's looking flabbergasted as they're finally engaged on Siki, but he does so much damage already. Will get taken out there, but there's still a lot of damage available as the chant does come through. In the end,
win this.
We already see that Fartlag is taken down.
Yeah,
An easy pickup for Vixen. And in the end, it's a 3-for-1 trade with only Psyche getting taken down. And there's a seed of frustration
what
for both of you.
What did you think you were going to do in that 3v3? You literally saw Siki was there. Maybe you were like, he doesn't have his ultimate, but this is still a Karthus with 100 farm.
The issue was as well as they committed everything onto Siki. They burned the Rek'Sai ult, the Varus ult, the quickness from the Rakan, and it's like they had nothing left for the Vayne. And I actually thought coming out the back end, Flirt was able to turn around because he had a fully stacked passive on Denvoxney, And you know, if you put a piercing arrow into that, it does so much damage. But the problem is, he used all his abilities on the Karthus, so he had no way to finish off the Vayne. They just overcommitted, and I feel like they overkilled on the Karthus.
Yeah, overkilled and were punished for it, and it essentially turned out that it was a 3-for-1.
It's a Karthus as well. Like, if there's someone that you don't want to, like, you kill them and then stand on top of them, it doesn't even do anything.
No, I mean like, you want to kill Karthus quickly, right? Because otherwise he's just going to keep spamming Qs and deal damage over time. But you do have to be aware that you have to have a plan to get out of Karthus' range.
Lina, I face check the brush here. There we go, just walking by PFI as Lina tries to go through fluid that finds the stun, at least for now. Goes back in, tries and go for a 1v2 as the engagements come back in, and it's unfortunately not enough as a lot of fancy movement, but
yeah, a lot of fancy moves
really
from Lina,
anything.
but it's just not enough to find anything. Does still have 1,000 gold lead on Akers, thanks to that CS difference, but the Rift Herald will be thrown down. It's a play I thought they should make, and it will get a lot of gold.
I think
over
it
to
charged
Akers.
after the plates went down.
The plates were gone.
The plates
Yeah,
were gone,
well,
so.
We'll still get first turret.
They'll still get the first tower. It's something, but it's not as good as it could have been.
We're now 14 minutes in, and there is, with this turret bomb, it's getting evened out a little bit, but still, a big 4K gold lead here for E9 with a composition where we said before that it's just looking stronger and stronger as the game progresses.
When Vayne hits Squinsus, that's it, right? That's the Vayne power spike activated. Still this big mid-game hard-hitting carry. And
I mean, the issue is there's so many carries on E9 is that normally if the Vayne has that build, you can go, right, well, we have an Akali and a LeBlanc, we'll just kill her. But there's still the Karthus, still the Orianna, there's still the Aurelia. You don't have the freedom to burn everything to kill one target on that E9 team, because as you saw when they burn everything on the Karthus in that last skirmish, you will lose the following fight.
And they got the Drake in the meantime as well. I think it was a Mountain Drake that they picked up. Or it was,
The second one was an Ocean.
The second one was an Ocean, so they picked up the Ocean Drake there as a consolation prize for that top lane tower take. But it's still a Drake, still gives them an Elder Dragon Elemental win condition here. And as Orcs correctly pointed out, you still have a very fed Karthus. You still have a pretty decently fed Orianna for Vixen.
I mean, I'm going to say very fed, because 2-0 with that CS lead.
Yeah.
And you got to ask, what has Beely done this game?
He has not really done very much, is the question at 0-0 and 0.
And this is the thing for me. E9, last game we saw that if they get a lead, they can make this work as PFI now tries to go in for a play. There's no help available for Shazy. And even though they're behind, the stopwatch buys him a little bit of time as then Voxney is going to come in, but I don't know if he really wants to commit, especially with Fastlect also making his way. And I was about to praise E9, but these little mistakes can actually start to cost him as the teleport comes in. Immediate engagement on the top, and a 100-0 on then Voxney. Teleport comes in from Lina, and we might see the throw coming through here. Lina goes in big, tries to find the kill, gets the one, but no more as Akers is looking for more damage on Siki. And now we see Darkspawn fight back, and a big mistake coming through by E9. The turret goes down, but so does Psyche, as the Ignite tick in the end will be enough to take him down.
I don't think that's going to kill Beely. He's healing up from the Corrupting Pot. Will just survive that. So a great play from Darkspawn. They find the kills they want. They don't give up much in return apart from Fastleg's life, but still a massive amount behind in gold.
I'm concerned that even though that play happened, they're still massively behind in gold, like you said. Like, it was a massive comeback play. A lot of that execute potential went down onto Akers. I was a little bit confused as to why Devoxney decided to try and move around and help a Thresh that was caught out by 3 members of the enemy team. But regardless of that, you're still in an okay position for E9. That was a small comeback play that really needs to be compounded for Darkspawn if they really want to come back into this.
I think the reason they're still so far ahead is because a lot of those kills that were picked up didn't have massive bounties on them.
No.
And I think the reason being is that the kills are fairly even, and the main advantage have come from plating, objectives, and CS, and so they haven't reflected the bounties. Lina might get caught out again here. Fastleg is potentially looking for it. Doesn't right now have the quickness. But this does mean that Flair is solo on the top side, and you can't do anything to defend that tower.
And like you say, the constant push and the difficulty that you have with defending these objectives as Darkspawn needed, you need to find a preactive place that we saw them execute early. And now the question for me is, as we approach 20 minutes, still a 5k gold lead here for E9, are they going to make more of these mistakes? Because if they don't, we saw that in the last game, we saw some questionable pathing from Psyche as well. Can Darkspawn then capitalize? And more importantly, if we don't see those mistakes, how do Darkspawn find their way back into this game?
They just need to, I think they need to play around that 1-3-1 potential. I think Akers beats Lina in the 1v1 right now, as far as we've seen, just evidence-based analysis. And speaking of which...
Might very well have a 1v1 on the hand here. There is the Vanguard there, does hit Akers, but in the Shroud, there's not that much that can be done as of yet, as a little trading back and forth. Now, Akers is low on energy, and Lina might be looking for something else, but PFI is waiting in the wings, trying to help the rest of his team. Akers gets hit by the Flawless Duet, and that means that their engagement is there as Lina, once again, a lot of fancy footwork. But I don't know if he can get away, but he finds it regardless. And I'm about to give him flack for it, and he completely outplays them, finds the escape, and now the push is on in the top side turret.
Yeah. Super clean play, manages to avoid the gank, and now his team are making the most of the time they've been given on the top side.
Because they had to invest 2 people there.
They did, and that was such an outplay from Lina to escape from that situation. Just set the minions up so nicely, brought himself, it's the classic switch and bait that you get from Irelia, is you bring the enemies away from the minion wave, closer towards their own turrets, and you dive back with that Blade Surge, then flash afterwards. That was really, really good stuff.
Devoxney.
Okay then.
That's not good.
Oh!
He lives regardless. Beely flashes forward and finds him in the end with the distortion. And also the Ocean Drake getting picked up as Beely makes his way back. And Vixen was nowhere there, and now it's starting to feel like E9 getting a little bit cocky here.
Yeah, it was a bit messy on the back end, getting that kill for Darkspawn, but what was the Voxney doing in that position? Just walking up to a LeBlanc, like, that's not how that matchup works. You have no MR. Yes, Beely hasn't done a ton yet in this game, but he's still a LeBlanc with Illudens and Sork Shoes. He will blow you up.
Yeah, that was just an unfortunate positioning from Voxney there. Maybe a little bit overstating how far they think they are ahead in this matchup, and I'll give credit to Darkspawn where credit is due. They brought that gold lead back to within that 4,000 realm, trying to keep it manageable. And yeah, I think E9 have got to keep things together.
They definitely do, and I'm really excited because this game, it looked like it was kind of dead in the water as we saw an early lead for the Brotherhood with a really well-scaling composition, but now somehow, I do really feel like it's both Darkspawn capitalizing very well off the mistakes of E9, but also E9, the positioning from then Voxney there, a lot of aggressive posturing. Look at Baron. Hello, Nasha. How you doing, buddy?
Well, he's there. He spawned 40 seconds ago, so...
yeah, no, we saw him spawn as well.
I think we didn't talk enough about him, and I think that's why the observers will make it very clear.
He was a little upset that we didn't talk about him.
It's not a special Baron. Right? It's not Baron got a little Christmas hat on or something. The normal Baron.
Just the normal Baron.
Does it deserve our attention?
We don't actually have the MSI skin on the map, because I think they have a... Don't they have a different Baron? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Man, Orcs, so smart.
That's what I'm here for.
High IQ caster.
But yeah, still in control for E9. That Vayne has the Blade of the Ruined King, has that Rage Blade, massive power spike, but my golden words are, when you're dead, you can't do any damage. No defensive items available yet. And you saw how much Beely was able to do if he lands that chain. No summon is now available as well for Voxney. So
I think crucial there as well was that Vixen was nowhere near, because he's one of the few members that can actually help out Voxney if he is in a position like that.
Yeah, the shield would be huge. That situation, PFI playing with fire right there.
I think Voxney, just again, positionally, a little bit aggressive, a little bit putting himself in a situation where he was isolated. Not sure about that one, my friend.
It is the respect the engagement here.
It is the Vayne spotting positioning. I think that's what we can really say. And Engage comes in.
Once again, they're right on top of them as the route comes through. Siki and Shazin, once again, this positioning coming through. And there we get a pause. But you gotta imagine that positioning, no matter what, that can't be repeated here, because the gold lead for E9, it's starting to shrink repeatedly.
Yeah, but you might even just lose Baron at this point as well. You need to be so careful. And this is something that I do need to criticize the Brotherhood for. Every single member of their team playing like they can 1v5 with their positioning. They're just not respecting the engages that can happen through terrain. They're not expecting the Rakan and Rek'Sai engages. And they're being punished for it. Darkspawn, credit to them, they're punishing them for those misplays.
Yeah, and we do hear some more noise. So we can go back in, and Vixen able to find some space using his flash and his ult. The Darkspawn will have to back off there, and
Lina, what are you doing? You go back in immediately, won't even be able to take the Lantern out. No Requiem available, already used, as once again, Darkspawn finds the punish on E9, and Yikes. E9 just trying to go for these big outplays, and I gotta say, I feel like they don't even need to do this.
They don't. There's some massive yikes moments here for both Lina and Siki. We're now in a situation where it is just 2,000 gold, not even that separating these two teams. Will, you know, call it out where it is. You were still going up against a pretty good late game scaling team coming out from E9. But if you give away Baron in a composition where your Akali is just so far ahead, and the fact that Beely can split push, you're gonna lose a lot of towers.
I think the thing is as well is that sure E9 scales well, but they are full of squishy members against a composition like Darkspawn that has so much pick potential. It doesn't matter how far ahead you are. If you step out of place, you will get punished. And now it looks like Voxney could be in trouble again.
Then Voxney, you're off on your own in a side lane. Will try to go. Dodges the chain already. Beely has to use the stopwatch early. Teleport comes through. And then Voxney, is he actually going to stay alive? The absolute madman, he does! There's the flawless duet keeps him alive. And Beely gets taken down. And I know you were all going to criticize him for it, because I was. But somehow they turned it around. This might very well be Baron.
It's the fact that he dodged the chains. That chain dodge basically set up the entire fight for him. And I don't think PFI had his ultimate available in that engage. I think it was just off cooldown. I'm not entirely sure.
And with the hook, the shockwave, Nasher gets taken down here by E9. And it was looking a little bit shaky. But once again, the game is firmly in their grasp.
Yeah, and I mean, it looked like another favorable play for Darkspawn, but they didn't respect the TP. They didn't respect the fact that Shazen could move. And crucially, they just didn't find the kill onto Voxney. I mean, I think maybe it was just a bit overzealous from Beely going in with a chain initially. That's not going to work on the Vayne. If you throw out a chain, there's a good chance that someone like Voxney will be able to dodge. I feel like he should have double distortioned on top of him.
Yeah, for the guaranteed damage, right?
Yeah, gone for the Q on top of that, and then held the chain for a longer amount of time. It would have made it much harder for Doc. Because the thing is, if you throw out the chain straight away, and then Voxney dodges it, he's like, oh, well, you know, it's go time. I can just kite the Rek'Sai all day. If he's constantly trying to outplay you and dodge the chain, you will end up moving in a way that tries to be unpredictable, and that could have meant PFI could have got on top of him. So I just feel like rushed, forced, overzealous, and that has put E9 back in control of this game.
Teleport from Akali. I mean, Voxney, for some reason, is split pushing on the top side of the map here.
We see a teleport coming through as Akaz. He goes in really deep, finds a beautiful engagement with the ground, and the shockwave works. Means that the Vanguard's Edge gets dodged by the stopwatch. And as PFI gets taken down as well, Fleur trying to somehow find something here. But then Voxney is off split pushing on his own.
I don't get how Voxney is on the other side of the map, but like Flirt wasn't in the team fight either. The coordination was just really, really poor there. Flirt joined really late. Beely was pretty late in the fight as well. I mean, sure, they went for the play, but why did they feel the need to rush it so soon? The Vayne doesn't have teleport. The Vayne wasn't going to teleport into the fight and contribute, but they pulled the trigger way too soon. Akaz ends up having to go in really early. And
Dan Voxney?
Is it Voxney 1v3ing?
Dan Voxney, what are you doing, mate? He goes in, again dodges the chain, and goes for the absolute hero play. He finds one, he finds fast-legged, and what is Dan Voxney even doing in this game?
Oh my word, he's trying to go for the pure 1v5 here. I think the Lantern will get him out.
He goes in on his own, 1v3, finds an inhibitor, picks up 2 kills, and gets out!
That play sums up this matchup in its entirety.
Ox is just sitting here, stone-faced, like, I'm not impressed by this at all.
It's not they're not impressed, it's just, I feel like Darkspawn are giving them so much freedom to make these plays. Beely, once again, W's forward and then just tries to throw a chain out. That is not what you need to do when you're going up against an immobile carrier like Vayne. Double distortion on top. Punish the Vayne, and I've seen a bit more of a fight coming. Beely lands a chain on Alina.
Alina does get taken down low, but the shield from Orianna means that he is not dead quite yet. As E9, they have the Baron buff available. We've criticized them a lot for being over-aggressive, but this time they're saying, no, none of that. A 10k gold lead now on the back of 2 amazing plays from E9. The base of Darkspawn is in shambles, and I gotta say, it's not looking good for UKLC teams here.
No, if Darkspawn lose this, we are guaranteed to lose one of our UKLC teams.
What are you talking about? Because these new UKLC teams are looking pretty good.
I mean, I'm looking at Brotherhood, and I'm thinking that's a solid team that could definitely contest top 4. In a way, you know, as long as they fix their positioning errors.
I gotta be honest with you, look like a very rough diamond, because they don't seem like mistakes that a team would make if they're playing full tryout. Like, I just feel like they're getting really cocky, because mistakes that are just then Voxney off in his own in the side lane, Psyche and Shazen just walking through river against a Rakan.
Yeah, I feel like they will definitely be a middle of the pack team, but it depends on how things are shaking up in the next split. Voxney needs to be careful, but just have the team to support him. Kane misses once again.
Well, they're trying to bait the stun there. You can see now Aka's caught out on the sideline. Shazen going for the hook. He lands it. There we go.
Well, Aka's immediately forced to use his Zhonya's to try and stay alive. The Fangatech does get hit, but Lina doesn't go in immediately. As BFI tries to go for the 1v1 and is Vixen.
I don't think you win that.
Okay, BFI.
Good call. I don't think you win that, as Orc says. And now it is 2 inhibitors down. E9 pushing through. It's 5 versus 4. Then Voxney is alive. The rest of the team is there. Once again, it goes in, gets tagged by the quickness. But Fastlack immediately gets blown up. Can't taunt anyone else. Then Voxney flashes forward, because why the hell would he not? The Requiem comes through, and we're gonna again see both of the UKLC teams with a dominating duo victory. As E9 Brotherhood, they looked a little bit shaky, but in the end, they get the big win here.
And that means we guaranteed have one of our UKLC teams leaving.
But also, we're guaranteed an open team in the UKLC.
So, you know, swings and roundabouts, pros and cons. 2-0 to E9 Brotherhood. Good performance from them.
I mean, I think we all got a little bit disappointed in them in that second game when they were just kind of running around.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, positioning errors happen, and sometimes you just aren't quite aware of the engaged potential. That is something that you'll need to shore up if you have any chance of going up against the likes of M&M, Fnatic, XL, etc. in the next season of the UKLC. And that's even if they can make it, because remember, neither of these teams are guaranteed to make it to the UKSL.
Yeah,
we just know that one of them will. So it'll either be Envision or E9 Brotherhood that will make it to the UKLC in the best of 3 tomorrow, when we find out which team is going to be the first one to qualify.
I feel like today's been a really great day to sort of see how these teams match up against each other, but I feel like tomorrow the stakes are so high.
I mean, massively so. Remember, as we said, it's 2 wins or 2 losses. It's the magic number of 2. You can do it in any order you want. You can go win, loss, win. You can go loss, win, loss. It doesn't matter, because
that one sounds bad.
Whichever one you get.
Loss, win, that does not sound good, because then you're still out of UKLC.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, it's 2 losses or 2 wins at this point in time.
Whichever comes first.
So remember, Darkspawn and now Bulldogs will be fighting each other to even give themselves a shot of getting back into the UKLC. So Darkspawn and Bulldogs are going to face up against each other tomorrow. The loser is eliminated from the promo relegation tournaments and therefore will not make it back into the UKLC for the next split. The winner of the other best of 3 that we have between Envision and E9 Brotherhood, the winner of that goes directly into the UKLC. And then we have a final match on Friday between the loser and the winner of those two respective matches.
Yeah, so a lot of process, but at the end of the day, all you're going to know is that UKLC teams and open teams, well, pretty good, doing good.
I got to say, it's such a big story coming into this as well, because we saw the open teams do okay in Forge, where they're able to take some games off here and there. Hybrid, of course, taking a game of Excel, a lot of other games being won, but I think in the end, seeing such a dominating performance from both these two teams as well was really impressive to me, because I think that especially in the first series, did any of us really expected Bulldog to get 2-0'd, especially with that second game?
I think the better way to look at this is an evolution of competitors within Forge of Champions. If I cast my mind back to Forge of Champions of last year, and any of the open teams, I can't remember any of them bar Super Booper Mega Truck Team, who I think are the only open team to have actually claimed a win.
So I did not cast this game, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they're the only open team, I think, to have claimed a win in the previous Forge of Champions. So I'm looking at this and thinking, actually, we have got open teams coming through the Forge of Champions who are actually contesting for the UKLC spots. Being told we have an MVP and it's going to be Dinvox.
No
I mean,
doubt.
it can't be anyone else, right?
Yeah, did have some shaky
Who is
moments in
that
game
shadow?
2, but
That looks like Inax. I'm going to go with Inax.
Yeah, there's this one he does his this pose.
Really? You can't see the pose, but Ox is doing
But you
the
can
pose.
tell from the way his body stands.
I think I'm
Is it
going to
really?
think I'm a PogChamp silhouette player right here. You know, I think I've got it right with Magi Felix, and I think that's Inax.
I was certain about the.
But actually, it's
Magic
Dinvoxney.
Phoenix
So
one.
Dinvoxney
It is
MVP. I think you can't really give it to anyone else after that Vayne and Caitlyn performance.
Yeah, I think there were definitely some mistakes in game 2, but around that, he had such solid play. The laning, credit to Shazian as well, because they're 2v2. That's not how that matchup goes. That's not what's supposed to happen. I'm like, I just felt like Darkspawn, I wanted a 3-game series. I felt like Darkspawn came out, they drafted really well. I was like, come on,
yes!
you've got a strong 2v2
And
bot. And then level 1, like,
one.
okay, it's cool. They have Ignite heal advantage. Then it's like, oh, and they lose 3v2. I almost walked out the door at that point.
Yeah, you had a tough time. but you got to be impressed with Shazian, because I was highlighting that Voktin, you got MVP, but Shazian as well, because the space and CC they created early in the lane.
He set up those plays, right? Shazian set up those level 1 to 2 plays, and they basically won the lane from that point onwards.
Yeah.
There were some shaky moments in mid-game where there was some positioning errors, but apart from that, it never really felt like Brotherhood were completely out of control.
They never lost that gold lead, and I got to say, this is the kind of videos that make you ban Vayne in solo queue, because you don't want someone go all hashtag Vayne mechanics all over you. And that's kind of what we saw here at the later plays, although I do know that you also felt like he got a lot of space.
No, but I'm going to say, thankfully, if you are queuing into solo queue, you are on patch 9.10. Rage Blade is nerfed. You will not have to put up...
Vayne's been slightly nerfed in her ultimate, so...
Thankfully.
Yes. They have to be afraid of that. And unfortunately, only 4 games tonight, 2-0s from both of the two, and that's already going to be the end for us, gentlemen.
It will be the end, but tomorrow we're coming back at the same time, 6 p.m. BST or 7 p.m. CEST, where we'll be covering the next 2 best-of-3 series in our promo relegation tournament. This is where the stakes ramp up. You're either out or in on the UKLC on the next 2 tournaments, and then the next 2 games, and then we have a best-of-3 decider on Friday. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being part of the conversation. #ForgeChampions on Twitter, and we'll see you tomorrow.